My mom had me abducted and thrown into the wilderness for 88 days. Is this abuse? And actually, we have the storyteller with us right now. Mick, gotta give us a 90-second breakdown of how this abduction happened.
All right, so I was not a good kid. I was taken. I was put in a car, a black Suburban, I'll never forget it. And I was also slightly medicated. I fell asleep. I woke up. This is in Florida, by the way. So the drive was from West Palm Beach to, I would say, somewhere around Henderson, North Carolina, somewhere in that area. I woke up and I'm in the mountains. They put me in this room. They strip search me, make sure I don't have anything. My watch gone. They just take everything I have, all my clothes, and then they blindfold me. They put me in another truck, and then I get dropped off into this camp with 5 other kids in the woods. I was given like a guidebook. It was like supposed to be like a therapy thing.
That sounds like it makes it you need therapy instead of being therapeutic.
Yeah.
We're gonna give you a reason to need this.
Yeah, no, exactly. It was, I think, like for me, I'm definitely like an outdoorsy guy, so like at first I was like, oh, this is gonna be sick, but like they don't tell you any information. They're like, they don't tell you how long you're gonna be there. They don't tell you what time it is, what date it is, like, and they don't tell you where you're going. You're just like walking in the woods, and it was winter too.
And you were there for 88 days.
88 days. Yeah. Some kids were there shorter. Some kids were there longer.
You said medicated. You were like. What do you remember about the first night?
Well, I was medicated before they put me into the truck, into the car.
What do you mean medicated? Like,
so my mom gave me
chloroform?
No,
like,
no. My mom basically kind of like tricked me into taking like a bunch of Xanax. So love you, Mom.
Wow. God. So you fall asleep, and then when are you awake again?
When I'm in the car and I'm like seeing mountains, and like I don't know if you've been to Florida, but there's no mountains. And then you're essentially waking up in the car. There's mountains. It's cold. You're like, what's going on?
Do you have any idea what the reason was?
I was just not a very like easy to control child. I wasn't doing anything like that serious. I think I definitely was just lying to my mom all the time about where I was, like definitely like just smoking weed, which I don't think is I don't think that was like the serious thing. I definitely like I would steal my mom's car like occasionally in the middle of the night.
Just Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. I was also seeing this girl with blue hair, so I feel like I don't even need to say more there. Yeah, you gotta watch out.
Did she turn out to be like a nice religious girl later in life? Did she grow out her blue hair phase?
I'm so glad you asked, because she's actually a porn star now.
When do you like realize you're kind of like
when I get searched and they take like everything I have, like my watch, like I was just like, why are you taking my watch? Like I was just confused, and they're like, if you ever had like a question about like time or date, they'd be like, be present.
That's cult vibes, bro.
Yeah. There was one like old lawnmower blade that we would use to chop like wood, and that was our like thing.
Wow, a lawnmower blade to chop wood.
This sounds like one of the stories that my grandpa said. Like, back in my day, we only had one lawnmower blade, and I walked in the snow uphill both ways to school.
The craziest thing is that I heard that this like whole like program was like $30,000. So like it's not even like it was like, yeah, exactly. And like I'm like,
your parents paid $30K just to throw you in the woods?
Bro, I can throw you in the woods for free right now. Like,
essentially you're allowed to leave when you finish the program. They're like palm size though. They're like small little like journals, right? And they each have like different like wilderness skills and like certain skills that you have to master. They're wilderness skills, they're like social skills, like journaling skills. Before you get like the red one, like your last like final book, you have to do something called like a master like bow drill challenge, right? So like are you familiar with bow drilling? Do you know what that is?
No, what is that?
No.
So like you've heard of like rubbing sticks together to create like fire.
Yeah.
So essentially you make
to create fire. I thought it was just sexual arousal. This story is heating up.
So you have to it's cool, you like learn to match like the white pine with the red fireboard, they're called, and you spin it until it creates enough friction to create like a coal. It's called, you call it busting a coal, and then you take that coal and you put it in.
Do you not call it busting a coal?
100%, yeah, I swear.
Oh my god.
And I put a little tally mark on my
bro.
When do you get out of this hellhole?
So the 88 days pass and I see my mom for the first time. I mean, it was heinous. I look horrible. Like I look like I was just in the woods.
Could you shower and stuff like that?
So we called them billy baths. A billy is like a little bucket almost, and you take the bucket and you go into the freezing lake or like river, whatever sorts of water, and you just kind of like splash your nuts because that's all you really want cleaned up. You don't want to get your hair just because it's so cold. It's so cold. There's like shelters all over the Appalachian Trail, which is the section that like we hiked. Yeah, even those shelters though are really scary. Like there's like ghosts and out there. It feels just
the energy.
Yeah, like you can feel it.
Wait, so when you saw your mom, what did you say to her?
Like I apologized for like whatever I did to make her feel like that was her only option. I was pissed, but it's like I was so happy to be out of there. But I feel like I learned a lot of really cool skills, and like I learned that if you burn rhododendron, if you have a rhododendron fire and you're near it, the smoke will give you insane diarrhea. I mean, just the Hershey squirts like no one's business.
Did you learn that the hard way?
I sure did. Yeah, and
God.
This is a funny story. I wake up in the middle of the night, and I'm sure you guys can relate to this, but you wake up in the middle of the night and you're just sweating and you know that it's not good. I step out of the tent and just sharted everywhere.
Oh.
And I had to go clean myself in a frozen lake at like 3 a.m. And it was just horrible. Just the worst, like just no good toilet. Just a hole in the ground at 3 a.m. in the woods. No support, no help.
Probably all over you.
Yeah.
That sounds awful.
No toilet paper, just leaves.
Hopefully it's not poison ivy.
I'm like, is there a spider on this?
So we've come to the final question.
Okay.
Is this child abuse? And if so, why or why not? John, what do you think first?
Yeah. Like, off rip. Second one of the story, giving your child Xanax. We're already like we've barely in the journey. We're already arguably in child abuse territory, and then
questionable territory.
Yeah, and then everything after it, like absolutely. And also, I heard a similar story actually on Therapy Gecko, but the parents did that because their daughter was addicted to heroin. At least they had a reason.
Hot take. The only part that I think is child abuse, there's three things. Giving you Xanax, abducting you, and not telling you when it's going to end. But other than that, like, this just seems like one of those summer camps that like, my parents are sending me to this lame summer camp again.
See,
like,
it was way worse. There's no fun activities. Kids got out earlier. Kids got out way before too. I've heard of kids being older too, being like 17 and then turning 18 while they're there, and then they can't be like legally kept there anymore, and they just like dipped in the woods. You're like not allowed to, like, you can't leave obviously. And this kid in the group, like right before I got there, he like tried to escape and he climbed a tree like looking for near like civilization, fell out of the tree into a lake with both his legs broken and drowned in the lake and died. And then they withheld that information from our parents too, which I thought was kind of fucked.
Oh my, okay. Fuck. Okay, I'm adding more to my list in the child abuse section. Do you think it's definitely child abuse?
Yeah. I have nightmares to this day where I'm like still trapped there.
But I mean, to any of y'all listening or watching right now, let us know what you think.
If everyone was in Trails Carolina Bravo group, probably remember me. Reach out.
And if anyone has any stories of being gooned yourself or abducted like in this way, like, please let us know. We want to hear your stories. Put your answers in the comments. But damn, Mitch, this is a crazy story. Thank you for sharing. And also, just want to say, Mick was a listener for a while and then reached out, and now we're having him on the show. So if you want to share your story on OKOP, please reach out. Hello, this is Future Sam in Bali, coming back from a surf. You're about to see more episodes in Bali, but we liked Mick so much that we brought him on for another episode. So this is what you're about to see. I got switched at birth, and my parents' real kid is hotter than me, and I don't want her in my life. Am I the a-hole? What do you think, Mick?
It doesn't sound good. I think we need more details.
Sound good. Yeah. I will give you those details, and I'll also give you some details on Mick, our guest of the show. He recently became a friend of the show by clapping cheeks to the podcast. So if you ever want to be a friend of the show, make sure you do that first. I know that I'm probably the asshole, but I feel so upset and confused. I just needed a little outside opinion. Last year, a child service worker contacted my parents to ask if they would be willing to receive a child, 15 female, who was recently orphaned and had biological ties to them. After her parents died in a car crash, Sophia could not locate any relatives to take her in, so she bought a DNA test to try to find out some distant relatives so she wouldn't have to go into foster care, which is what connected her to my adoptive family, her biological family. What was even weirder was that she, Sophia, was a genetic match to both of my parents.
Okay.
After some investigation, it turns out that she was their real daughter. The hospital messed up and accidentally switched me with her. I'm not actually their daughter.
Hands are being thrown.
Dude, I'm suing the shit out of that hospital. Are you kidding
yeah,
me?
Yeah. You can't be switching babies.
Obviously, once my parents found out Sophia was their daughter, they took her in, and it's been around a year since she moved in. And everyone has been so happy since she came. I know that I'm a terrible person for being so self-pitying when Sophia is going through so much more, but ever since the truth came out, I've been feeling really terrible.
I mean, your feelings are valid. Like, we can't invalidate OP here. And this is now her sister.
But like, her family's out there somewhere. Or wait, no, I guess her family just died because they got switched at birth, right? So I never really fit in with my family and have always been very self-conscious about it. When I was little, people used to call me the ugly duckling, which is a pretty good description if I'm being honest, except I never grew up into a swan. Oh.
That is so sad.
My parents and my older siblings have always excelled at school. They're naturally gifted athletes and really popular. I'm pasty, pimply, and have a lot of social anxiety. I have a hard time fitting in at school, and I used to get bullied, which caused everyone a lot of problems. And now there's Sophia, who has the same clear skin and shiny black hair and poises them. And even though she just joined the school last year, all the teachers and students love her. We're in the same classes, and I can't help comparing myself with her. She's so obviously a better fit in the family. Even my cousins commented on it, which, what the cousins? That's so messed up, bro. A month ago, I got a small award, not the big three, for some digital art, but because we hadn't gotten booster shots yet, my parents said we wouldn't go to the exhibit. Now, Sophia just won a student leader award, and my parents are throwing a party for her. I get it's not the same situation and that her award is much bigger than mine, and everyone got their shots now, but I just started feeling so terrible when I saw how proud and happy my parents looked with an arm around her that I couldn't take it and had to leave. Sophia saw I was going across the room and asked kind of loud where I was going, and then everyone turned to stare at me, and I just ran away crying. Oh, it's not Sophia's fault that I'm insecure, but I hate this. I hate I'm not the real daughter, that I don't fit in, and I'll never be able to meet my biological parents who I could have fit in with. And there is an update. But Mick, what do you think OP should do about this situation, dude?
I really think it could work out. I really think it could, because, you know, it really sucks on both ends. It's like, maybe you have Sophia, who's beautiful, clear skin, everyone likes her at school, but like having the two humans that raised you for 15 years, like, I feel like that trauma like may not begin right away, but eventually like it's going to be really hard for both of them. And I think if they, you know, hold it together now and become friends, it'll be a lot easier.
You guys have a lot in common, so maybe that's something that could bring you together. But there is an update. Okay, so this is 21 days later. So I found out later that Sophia left the party as soon as she saw me crying, that she spent hours searching for me before finding me in the old treehouse. I was miserable and embarrassed, tried to give some sort of apology, but dissolved into more crying and a word vomit of my insecurities. She hugged me and let me sob all over her. She told me the party didn't matter, that I was more important to her. It hurt so much to hear that because I didn't expect it. Didn't feel like I could believe it. It felt like too much, like it was more than I deserved. For the next week, relatives scolded me about overreacting, but it didn't hurt me so bad because someone was on my side. We went to the art exhibit with my work later because she couldn't believe I hadn't gone yet. We got ice cream and she gushed about how talented I was. She's at the top of the class and the captain of the girls' varsity volleyball team. She's 1,000 times more talented, but she spoke like I was the rebirth of the Renaissance.
Da Vinci? It sounds like she really cares and she's making an effort, you know, to show OP that she does matter. And, you know, I think that effort goes a long way. And
it sounds like she like actually cares about like the sister relationship, and she's showing that right now. Sophia took me shopping and showed me the cream my mother used to use because she figured out skin types would be similar. And guess what? I don't have acne anymore.
No way.
So yeah, it had to be the same parents. She told me I'm beautiful, that I have my father's eyes and laugh and my mother's button nose. That's just so freaking cute, bro.
So, okay, so now we know that it was the parents
Yeah,
of
definitely.
OP.
Yeah, definitely switched at birth. Yeah.
Wow.
After that, she cried because it hurt to remember them, and I cried with her. She defends me at school and at home. When a cousin took a crack at my weight, Sophia went positively glacial. That's my sister you're talking about, until he turned red and apologized. When I'm sad, she rolls a blanket around me and calls it a burrito.
Aww.
It doesn't hurt me now when people compliment Sophia or comment how she's my parents' real daughter, because she is their daughter and she really is amazing. She deserves compliments. I've stopped feeling bad that my parents connect with her much more easily than they've ever done with me, that they take more interest in what she's doing than they've ever done with me, because now I have someone who gets me. She tells me nice things every day, and I'm starting to believe her. We weren't born to the same people or raised by the same people, but she's my sister, and that makes me feel so lucky. I'm going to be a better sister, the best sister. I've never felt so much like family before.
Wow. That is a full circle.
Full circle.
You know, now they need each other more than ever.
In some ways, OP reminds Sophia of her parents, and it's like her connection to the parents that raised her for 15 years. And so
Right.
like I imagine that's also why she feels really connected to Sophia, because she reminds her of her childhood.
I just hope the parents can maintain this. Like, obviously they have this like new daughter, and I
Yeah.
truly believe there's like, you know, biological like pheromone thing where you know, like when, you know, a child is yours, there's this connection that, you know, can't be explained. Yeah. It sounds like Sophia's the angel here.
Parents are definitely the assholes. My spoiled brat kid is bullying poor kids at school, so I took all his name brand things. Now he has only the bare essentials. Am I the a-hole?
Are we talking bare bottomed? Or are we talking no
Bare
clothes
bottom.
here?
Only belly full of rice and 2 twigs to make a fire.
I certainly didn't have 2 twigs sometimes, so.
I am the mother to a teenage boy. The father is hardly in the picture. He pays child support, and that's about it. He is very absent otherwise. Another relevant thing, I'm pretty well off. All right, OP.
Flex.
I work in tech. My son's father is extremely wealthy, and the court order for child support is enough to pay for the best for my son. He goes to a fairly competitive private school, is in a lot of extracurriculars that cost a decent bit, etc. I found out from the school administration just this month that my son had been bullying several students for being less wealthy. Like, oh, Bartholomew doesn't have a Rolls Royce, he's in a Prius. What are you? He was making fun of students for being dropped off at school in a budget sedan, for having name brand clothes that were not as expensive as other name brands. I was appalled by his behavior.
Not the budget sedan, and I'm thinking when I think budget, and I think Toyota, because honestly, a fine to Japanese
Fine
engineering.
vehicle. I mean,
So
it
there's
will
no-
go for miles. I had to talk to him about how this is wrong, and also about how it's not something that he should have any personal pride in. He has no job, no savings, no investments, no wealth of his own. By totally random chance, he happened to be born into good circumstances, and that's it. Basically, OP is calling her son a loser. You ain't kid. The school admin and I arranged an apology between him and all the kids he was bullying. I also decided that this year we're thrift shopping for clothes. No more brand name sneakers or clothes, which low key, like that's just going to make this kid cooler, because thrifting actually gives you style, not just like randomly buying shit. And rather than driving him to school and activities in the Porsche or the Jaguar, I'm driving him everywhere in my 92 Jeep. That was one of my first cars that I mostly keep around for nostalgia and off-roading. Low-key, a 92 Jeep is kind of sick, though.
That's so sick. And I'm picturing, like, you know, if this family has 92, like, prime paint, like, it still looks so sick. Like, it has to be nice. Like,
so actually, it says it's really beaten up. And for activities he joins, he can borrow club equipment instead of getting his own bot. He was really upset about it all, especially being driven to school and activities in the Jeep. Not the Jeep. Please take me in the Rolls, mother. I can't be seen in the poor people cars. He said that it was causing problems with his friends, which, dude, if that's causing problems with your friends, you need new friends. He was looking bad at school. His friends' parents didn't want their kids getting in such an old vehicle with no doors. He also said that it was embarrassing for him to pretend he's poor. His dad, who overall has been very absent, got upset with me because apparently word had gotten around his circles his son was being driven around town in a junker, and that I was making him use club gear for sports instead of his own, and that that was not fair punishment because impressions matter and it will affect the rest of his life. So, am I the a-hole for having this approach to parenting my son who is bullying kids for being poor? I don't buy him new designer things or drive him places in luxury cars anymore. We shop at thrift stores and I am taking him to school in the Jeep I drive from 92. So, what do you think, Mick? Is OP the a-hole or nah?
Not the asshole, but I think the problem isn't clothes or the money or anything else. Not the asshole, but I think the problem isn't clothes or the money or anything else. I think the problem is gratitude. I think this kid is just ungrateful.
So ungrateful. And it also seems like he's probably getting this from the father.
Yeah, it sounds like the dad is just kind of, just enabling all of this. I know a lot of people that have a lot of money, and by talking to them, you would never know.
Yeah.
I have a great friend that he's got a jet, a yacht, all the stuff. You would talk to him. He wears normal clothes. You can definitely have all of those nice things and still be not a
douchebag. Yeah, that seems like OP's kid has not learned that lesson. And I mean, it's also like usually whenever this behavior occurs, it's probably because the kid's learning it from somewhere. So it's either the friend group is kind of a bunch of like status signaling kids that only care about money, or it's probably the dad like showcasing that this is what's important. Sounds like this kid needs that lesson. So I'd say definitely not the a-hole. My psycho boyfriend destroyed my house because I wouldn't let him go on vacation with my family. I'm calling the police. So am I the a-hole? Me, 21 female, boyfriend, 23 male, let's call him Charlie. Around a month ago, my mom mentioned a family vacation while on a call with me. Charlie and I have been together for about a year. He has still not met my mom's side of the family, only my dad's. My mom, 42 female, lives in my home country together with my stepdad, 50 male, and my stepbrother, 24 male, lives there too, but not in her hometown. Because of this, he hasn't had a chance to meet them yet. Yesterday, I mentioned it to my best friend, 21 female, with whom I have been best friends for 17 years. I was on the phone with her. She is still in the city we grew up in and goes to university there because she often sees my parents. My mom invited her like she has done on any other vacation, and this time she decided to come.
Okay.
The trip is fully paid by my stepdad and my mom. My stepbrother will be bringing his fiance, 21 female, too. Charlie was in the room while I was on the call and asked me, what should I pack?
Ooh.
Charlie is already assuming he's going. A little presumptuous, Charlie. I looked at him confused and asked, he's going somewhere. He said that he needs to know what to pack for the trip. I laughed and thought he was joking since I never said he was coming. When I realized he was serious, I sat him down and told him he isn't going to be able to come and there was no reservation for him. Plus, it'll be very inappropriate to invite him over, knowing that this is a family trip and it will make a bad impression like he is trying to come because it's just going to be free. They have never met him. There isn't any rooms left. He doesn't have a passport and there's other reasons that I tried explaining. He flipped out though and told me that I'm a bitch and that I'm probably cheating on him and that's why he's not invited.
Leave him.
I tried, end it
Leave
right now,
him.
OP. I tried explaining, but he left the apartment. He hasn't returned since yesterday. And at 4 a.m., I have to leave to the airport. I'm worried sick. I called many times and texted, but he isn't responding. So, am I the a-hole? And there is an update. But what do you think, Mick?
Not the a-hole. First of all, where's your you don't have a passport? I mean, you're not going anywhere. What was your plan? Like, if you didn't have the passport, I feel like if I was...
how would you be able to go? Like, you're going to a different country, bro.
And this is the day before that they're talking about it, right?
Yeah. 4 a.m. I have to leave to the airport. Yeah, so this is right there.
So if I was the girl, I would have looked at Charlie and I would have been like...
In what world can you come? You're delusional.
Well, that's what I would have said in my head, but I would have been like, just go grab your passport. And then he would be like, I don't have one. I'd be like, well, you kind of need one.
You can't come.
If anything, this is all good because now she knows she has an insecure little boyfriend and he's not responding to her on purpose. Her worried. And, in his dream situation, she is locked up in a cage, only giving attention
to him. Yeah. Red flag for sure. But let's get into this update. So when I was leaving from my apartment 4 days ago, I left a key to my neighborhood/friend. Yesterday, she called me to inform me that my boyfriend's stuff is missing and my writing studio and manga collection are destroyed. Some of my savings are stolen, and yesterday he tried to empty my bank account but failed miserably. $5,000 are apparently missing from the drawer of my nightstand and my boyfriend is nowhere to be found. Luckily, my stepbrother's fiance's mother is a lawyer. My mom's side of the family are trying to calm me down and get me away from the situation as much as possible. I thought this was a minor problem in the beginning, but here we are. Dad's side of the family is telling me to drop the charges and that I'm overreacting. Yes, I did place charges. I will have to deal with it further when I get back, but police are already on the hunt for him.
Manga's valuable.
Yeah, dude, man, you can't like destroy this smutty manga. Come on.
No, you can't destroy the manga. There's some value there that she's gonna have to place a value
on.
There's a
line, take my possessions, take my money, but spare the manga.
Spare the manga.
Spare the
Not
manga.
the reading material. No.
Some people said I was the asshole because this would be the perfect time to meet my family. But in this case, it just seemed like a direct, I want a free trip to me. Somebody pointed out we have communication problems. Yes, we do. I didn't really want to mention this, but I'm on the autism spectrum, so it's pretty normal in a way. He knew 2.5 weeks before I went to the trip, and I made it clear he wasn't coming. So with all that information, Mick, I pose it to you again. Is OP the a-hole?
No, not the a-hole. But I do think she thinks that he wants to be in for the free trip. I'd actually disagree. I think he wants to be there because secure without her right next to him. He's just like an insecure guy. I actually don't think it has to do with the money at all, and I could be wrong.
I would agree that it probably doesn't have to do with the money. I think he maybe just wants to be integrated into the family. It could be that too.
He's a psycho. Who can know?
He is a psycho.
What he's really
I
thinking?
mean, bro, like to respond after not being invited to a trip to steal, destroy, and like just cause a ruckus. OP dodged a bullet because that only would have gotten worse.
Yeah. 100. I mean, you don't
do that. Thank you all for publicly subscribing and sharing your thoughts and comments, and we'll see you soon.
Later.
And thank you, Mick, for coming on.
Of course.